Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Liv. I am Olivia, Liv, whatever, you get the gist by now. So today I am putting on my nerdy psychology brain and I am discussing the paradox of choice. So, just a disclaimer before we start, if you hear any noises in the background, it's because I've written some notes. If you know me, I don't tend to remember things off head that easily, so I have to write things down. Hence the notes, and I've just checked and there is an ambulance outside my house, so if you hear some kind of engine, it's because of that. I feel like I sound nasally, one second. But anywho, so Paradox of Choice is a book written by Barry Schwartz, and he also did a TED Talk. It's like 20 minutes. I'll link both the book and the TED Talk in the podcast notes. So if you want to take a look at it, buy the book, read it, send it to your friends, whatever, feel free. But I'm just going to discuss it today and kind of express. I'm going to discuss it today and talk about how it affected me, how it might affect you, and just kind of the areas that I see affect other people. This kind of came about, I feel like I was trying to buy something. I like to buy clothes and shoes, mainly trainers. Trainers are my thing. So I was trying to buy some clothes. I'm like, there's so much to choose from. Like, there's a lot of choice, but you never really get what you want. It's weird. And then the paradox of choice kind of came up, and I'm like, I've heard this concept before, and it's like I know it affects me a lot, but it's until it kind of popped up again. I was like, you know what? Let me discuss it on the podcast and just kind of get people's opinions on it, because it's a simple theory, but I don't think we really think about how choice affects us every minute of every day. Now, personally, I would rather not have that much choice. So if you're going to ask me, okay, what we're going to eat, those kind of questions, I hate those questions, because like there's so much to choose from. What you're going to wear, it's like, okay, it's not like it's anxiety inducing, but it's like, because there's options, you kind of are stuck to what to pick from. When I had a job where I had a uniform, I loved it because like I didn't have to think about what I had to wear. School uniform, you don't have to think about what you have to wear. But when you enter like a working world where you don't have to wear a uniform, you can wear what you like. It's like, okay, I now have to pick something to wear every day. Like, are you kidding me? Anyway, so for me, I try to keep things simple in terms of, one thing I'd say is like perfume. If I find something that works for me, then I'll buy that. Or makeup, if I find something that works for me, then I'll just keep buying that. Bags, same thing. Kinda, I'm lying. I do like to buy nice bags, but I don't like to carry them. Anyway, so let me just define what the paradox of choice is. So just to paraphrase, everything that I'll be saying is paraphrased. So don't say I misquoted this person. I'm paraphrasing for sake of time and sake of understanding. Okay. So, the paradox of choice is the diversity of our choices causing us stress and ultimately a feeling of being trapped in unhappiness and feeling overwhelmed. So, when you have so much to choose from, although in theory it's meant to bring you more happiness, bring you more freedom, allow you to pick for yourself, you feel unhappy because let's say you have 5 choices to pick from, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go with number 1. But then you pick that one and you're like, wait, what if number 4 was better? What if number 5 was better? That's essentially what it is. So, like I've said, it's like examples in like clothes shops, food menus, your career, your relationships. Those are where you tend to have a lot of choice. And that's where you tend to have a lot of maybe regret or feelings of confusion as to whether or not you picked the right thing, the right person, the right career. So, personally, for me, being that I am 23, it's a poor excuse. Okay, for me, dating isn't like the highest thing on my list, just because I know there's a lot of options out there. Whereas maybe if there wasn't a lot of options out there, I'd be like rushing to date. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I'm asking, do you get, like someone's gonna respond? But yeah, so it's like, if I know that there's so many guys out there, I'm not gonna rush and be like, let me just date the first person I see. Is that a good thing? Probably not, because even though it's like there's a lot of choice out there, if I don't also make the active choice to date, I will never be able to build like a actual fruitful relationship with somebody. But that's for another day. Another area, like I mentioned, is food. Don't ask me what we're going to eat. Don't ask me to pick where to eat. It really, like, it can keep me up at night. I'm not joking. Kidding, it's exaggeration. But you understand what I'm trying to say. Jobs, that's another area, because I feel like personally, I feel like there's an abundance of jobs where I am in London, whether it be in various sectors, not necessarily like the psychology sector, which is what I studied, but there is jobs out there for you to go and get. It's not that hard to be like, let me pick up and go from one job to another. Again, there's pros and cons to that, because as much as there might be jobs out there, for example, the pandemic, I was like, oh yeah, whatever, there's jobs out there. Yeah, those jobs, some industries have now like vanished completely. So the choice is limited, but I still kind of stand by, if you actively search for jobs and broaden maybe the sector in which you're looking at, you'll be able to find something. University, if I now want to go do a master's, there is choices for that. Friendships as well. I'm with friends. I would say for myself, having an abundance of friends isn't something that has appealed to me. I'd say having enough friends or quality friends is what I would, what I kind of aim to acquire when I'm looking to make friends with somebody. And I'll make friends with people based off like, yeah, so I'll make friends with someone based off like mutual interests, things like that, and more organic friendships as opposed to forcing the friendship. Now, how I feel like the paradox of choice affects my friendships is that if someone is a bad friend to me, I won't feel a type of way to not be their friend, because I know that there is quality people out there. It's just a case of whether or not they're meant to be in my life or not. Like, same thing with a partner. If you have a bad partner or you're not feeling fulfilled in your relationship, there is better out there. You just need to kind of wait for it. I don't know, like, I'm not going to try and go into finding somebody or being in a relationship with somebody in this episode. I don't know if I ever will, but yes, it's a lot. It's a lot that kind of goes into finding that partner and things like that. But again, that's another topic. Healthcare. Now, I want to speak in the perspective of the UK and the NHS. The NHS provides options for you in terms of, I guess when I talk from like 18, let's say you're going for a surgery, you need treatment, or you need medication, there is options there for you. However, with the paradox of choice, it's like the doctor rarely will recommend something for you unless you have pre-existing health conditions which limit your choices. But it's kind of like, these are your options, this is what you can pick, these are the pros and cons, you decide. So by saying you decide, if anything goes wrong, you are to blame. Whereas when there's a limited amount of choice and the doctor decides for you, who in reality should be picking things for you because they have the most knowledge on most of what they have the most knowledge on what they have the most knowledge on what they're recommending. Therefore, they are in the better position to pick something for you than you as a sick person who might be feeling anxiety, who might be tired, worried, and is sick. They now make you make the decision, which kind of eliminates the blame of yourself. Not eliminates the blame of yourself, sorry. This then eliminates the blame of them, which is what I guess consumers, businesses, and whoever runs the healthcare system or education system as well has kind of wanted, is that if you provide people with a choice, cool, it kind of lets them think. They have decision, like they have the onus over their life, they're making decisions, they're more happier. However, in turn, it's like, okay, if you give them all these choices, they will not have any way to blame us. In addition to the healthcare system, there is also an abundance of schools. So the education system has a variety of schools, secular words, sorry, faith-based schools, mainstream schools, schools for kids with special needs, etc., etc. However, what the paradox of choice allows is for parents to look at each individual school and be like, okay, this school will be the best for my kid because of X, Y, Z. However, if that now turns out to be wrong and the kid doesn't do well or hates it there or gets bullied, the parents will then feel guilty, like, I made the wrong decision. So it's good, okay, because it gives parents a choice. However, it makes the decision even more important than maybe it wouldn't be if there was only like two schools to pick from. This is also meant to allow schools to improve and kind of compete for the number one spot as the school that produces the kids with the highest results and things like that. But that is not always the case. In the book and the TED Talk, Barry Schwartz also discusses how when we choose an option through a variety rather than limited choices, we feel less satisfied. We feel less satisfied, is what I was talking about with the schools. This is due to an increased choice, possibly making us miserable because of regret and possible opportunity costs. So it's just something to think about again when you have more choices in front of you. How just to make sure that if something does go wrong, or just to make sure you make a decision and you're like 100% on it. So if I make a decision in myself, I've always kind of told myself I can't regret it. So I don't really regret things. I can look back and be like, I could do this better, but I'll be like, you know what, everything I've decided on, I don't regret it. If I've had an experience, I don't regret it, because end of the day, if I start regretting decisions I don't have any way of changing, what's that going to do for me? That is kind of ties in with stoicism and just understanding what you have control over. But that's another topic as well. So just a disclaimer again, anything to do with psychology, the mind, it's my thing. So there will be a lot of topics that might not be appealing to you, and I really suggest, if this is not interesting to you at all, I won't feel offended. However, I love it. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. Another issue with the paradox of choice is that with more choices come higher expectations of feeling satisfied, but it can cause the opposite. So Schwartz discusses how to resolve this is just to have lower expectations, which I agree with. Ultimately, when you have low expectations or just no expectations of anything, the outcome that is produced will fulfill you more. So if you go somewhere and you're expecting that the meal to be really nice, or you go to see a film and you're expecting it to be really good, and it's just like mediocre, you're going to feel really bad that you wasted your time eating that food or preparing to go, whatever. But if you go with an open mind of anything's going to happen, like it could be bad, it could be good, but I'm just going for the experience, you will then feel more fulfilled with whatever happens after that. Another psychologist called Zimbardo, he did an experiment regarding prisons. If you haven't checked it out, you should read about it. It's quite interesting. He also states that due to there being more pornography options, humans are becoming more sorry, there's more pornography options and they're more interactive. So you have like, the video calls and text options, whatever, which is making it more lifelike. So kind of imitating what a realistic human interaction relationship would be like for some people. It kind of makes people think that an actual relationship is less appealing, because why would I waste my time building a relationship with somebody when I'm getting the sexual needs and sometimes even the companionship from these pornography or escorting or whatever relationship that people are having. So it's just kind of killing our love lives in a sense. So there's like a lot of examples I could discuss in regards to the paradox of choice, but those are just a few that have affected me and I think that affect other people. If you want more information about it, I would recommend listening to the TED Talk. Schwartz kind of expands a bit more on the different topics in his book and the TED Talk as well. But before I kind of wrap up, I just wanted to mention a few things that I found out when I was researching the paradox of choice and kind of how to help you if you're finding it hard to what's the word, like limit yourself, like stressing out about choosing things, because I think it is quite stressful. We don't want to admit it, but having to pick from a variety of options, it wastes time, one, and it is kind of stressful. So what you could do is first off like write a list of everything you need to choose from. Let's say for example you're picking a flight to go somewhere and the ticket prices are roughly the same. Write them all down and then like leave it for like a bit. So don't make your decision straight away. Like write everything down or find your options, save them, and then just give yourself a break, because looking at it after making a decision after looking at it compared to making your decision after giving yourself like some time, you're gonna go there with like a fresh mind, so you'll be able to make a better decision. You then narrow down the choices through criteria of your own, whether that is, for the flight example, you're looking at the flight that has the best luggage options or shorter flight time, shorter transit time, whatever the options are. Narrow it down to make 3 and then let someone else make the decision for you. Yes, just take the responsibility off your hands and let someone else choose. You don't have to do all these suggestions, but maybe you could do like a few of them. Sometimes just letting someone else pick just makes it easier. So that is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed listening to this psychology based conversation, one sided conversation. But do feel free to message me on Instagram about anything. And yeah, I will see you guys. I keep saying see you guys, but you understand what I mean. Next week, there'll be a new episode. Thank you again for listening. Subscribe if you like, share it if you like, and yeah, bye.